Hey, this is Darrell Stern, CEO of Stern Inbound Marketing and creator of Stern Storming, a very unique way to get at the why of your business and market your business through the emotional benefit of what you do, not just the features. My guest today on our Stern Inbound Marketing blog is the amazing Ross Brand. And Ross, we're going to jump right into this because Ross goes back to the radio broadcasting days. And it's really funny to me that here we are saying, people are saying how to broadcast. And two things I wanted to talk to you about. One, broadcasters don't seem to be jumping into this, which is funny. And then also people are not understanding just because you can broadcast, right? We can now click the button and broadcast, doesn't mean that you should just be broadcast, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it seems like about, 95% of the people who found live streaming once it took off, right, with Meerkat and Periscope and Blab and now into all different Facebook Live and everything else, it seems like most people came from social media. And
Right.
Live streaming is a combination of broadcasting and social media. So the social media side's nicely covered and how to use it in social media, but how to actually broadcast, how to actually produce interesting content, how to promote that content, how to retain a viewer over time or a listener, and all that still needs some developing. And that's what I enjoy, which is helping people with that aspect of it. How do we do a show? How do we have content that's engaging, not just momentarily, but can have a life on after the broadcast? And so it's interesting for somebody to watch 6 months from now on a replay, or, a year from now, where you can take pieces of it and repurpose, because it's funny that it's missed by a lot of people.
Right.
This is what social media marketers and bloggers talk about: evergreen content.
Right.
Well, you can cover the news, you can cover up-to-date things on live streaming, but there's always going to be pieces of a broadcast, if it's done right, that have a hook that's evergreen and can live on beyond the life of that live broadcast.
So you literally decided, okay, now I can broadcast live on Facebook. I'm going to make a Facebook page called Live Streaming Universe, right? And
actually, I did that long before Facebook allowed you to broadcast live.
Before anyone else even allowed you to do any of this.
But it didn't, it obviously didn't take off until I started actually putting video content on the Facebook page. And then it's been great since then. It's wonderful having a Facebook page and a home where you can put your videos, both recorded and live. And by the way, there's still a place. We all talk about live all the time, but there's definitely a place for recorded videos as well outside of YouTube, on places like Facebook, Instagram, and other places. So I always tell people, look at musicians, right? Very rarely is some artist's best work their live album, right? Generally, that's a souvenir from a tour or a moment in time, right?
Right.
So while there's certain content that lends itself to live, if you're doing a 1-minute update on something or a 2-minute tease about something or whatever, there's no time for what makes live video special, which is the interaction with your audience. So why not produce it and make it as tight and as short and as visually pleasing to the eye as you can? And if you start to talk too much or it starts to go too long, you go, scratch that, let me redo it, and let me have something that's really punchy and short and nicely produced and represents your brand and yourself well for that short form content. Live is great because of the engagement, and what makes live video, I think, special, even to people who've been in broadcasting, is that instantaneous feedback. It's no longer like you can sit in a room by yourself and talk about what you want, and maybe somebody calls in or whatever. But now you've got this ongoing chat. And I've talked to people who've been doing live streaming for a while, and they say they couldn't imagine broadcasting without a live audience, without
Right.
people to interact to and ask them questions. And, no matter what the topic is and how much we may feel we're prepared or we know about it, we can't know everything about everything. So there's always
Yeah.
somebody in that chat that knows something about my guest or the topic or whatever, and you get the best. It's like crowdsourcing content while you're live. It's amazing.
The great sitcoms, the great talk shows, the great, broadcasts have been live with a studio audience, right?
Right.
To have that living effect of theater where people can then actually interact and respond, and you get that emotional energy of how, and you could also sense from the live audience how this is going. Is this working? Is there an feedback either through
Right.
comments, applause, whatever that kind of thing is. So this all seems to now be falling into place. But as you said, it's important to let's sculpt this a bit. Let's produce it a bit. Let's think of
Right.
the why, this broadcast. And also you spend a lot of time in the technology too. You use, I believe, OBS, open broadcast software, and you have a format to it. It's split screen. You use Be Live, right?
I use Be Live for my interview shows, but I use Wirecast for my updates. Most people think of Wirecast is just for live streaming,
and I've seen them,
but I can switch the shots all along as I'm going along and do different things with Wirecast. So you got to use the right tool for the right project, and while Wirecast is more sophisticated and does more than a tool like Be Live TV does, Be Live gets you that instant feedback with the Facebook comments right within your interface. And like you said, if comments start slowing down, you say, okay, maybe we stayed on this topic a little too long, or maybe the other three things that I could talk about this will get people more engaged. And as they get more engaged, it becomes a conversation and not a one-to-many broadcast as it could be, or just an interview with two people talking and nobody else really listening to what they're saying.
Right, exactly. And then if we combine that with a little bit of marketing spin, a little bit of business sense, and add, for instance, a link to go buy a product, a text in there that says, where to call the person if you're interested in something.
Right.
No, we're not going on to pitch anything. We're demonstrating some product. We're showing something. We're giving value. We're showing something useful. But also, guess what? Yeah, let's make sure that there's that call to action, that it's crystal clear that, hey, if I'm excited about this and they're talking about this new product or something, boom, this is impulse, right there. Bam, I can go there. I can buy it. I can click the consultation link if we wanted to start doing consultations with people or whatever it is. So then all of it is thought through with that kind of broadcasting engineering and marketing engineering, so that there's a measurable ROI, and we can see, okay, we've been doing the show and people have signed up, people have bought the product, people have signed up for whatever it is, consultations or coaching or whatever it is. So
well, I love that you mentioned putting the phone number in, because have you ever heard a radio ad where they didn't mention the phone number 5 times in the ad, or at least, close mentioning it a couple times so it's in your head? Well, the great thing about live video is you can put it right in the post, and you don't even have to mention it and do that harder sell thing. You just put it right in the post. And I know that's something I haven't thought of doing, and I know it's something.
In other words, you're saying I thought of it, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you invented it.
That's what we were talking about earlier. But
a lot of people feel like you don't put phone numbers.
Right, you don't put the phone number. But I'm like, if you're on a mobile phone, right? This is what we're talking.
About.
If you're on a mobile phone and you put a phone number at a single line in a Facebook post, and you click on that on your phone, because we're talking about mobile, guess what? It'll dial the number. So what if we did a telethon? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if live broadcasting went to telethon, where it had the link to the 1-800 number to go donate to a charity?
Right.
There you go. See, we're brainstorming right here live in our interview.
That's a great idea.
There you go.
That's one way to get people to call in, is actually make it easy for them.
Make it easy. There's a book out about website usability from years ago called "Don't Make Me Think."
Right.
Anything is the clearest bit confusing. So everybody is, yes, we got to broadcast, we got to make media, and da 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 da. But you got engineering wise, sales, marketing, ROI wise, we've got to put some engineering into it. And you are brilliant at the engineering of the content of the show, actually putting together how a great interview can be, promoting it, because you've done a great job of saying, the memes, the pictures you create are like that coming up next, next week, and you've been building this momentum, and now you've got people all over the world you've interviewed. So I want to ask you one final question. Out of all these interviews, who has been the one that you just went, wow, like this just really put me over the edge. This is really, really something that I hadn't heard before.
Wow. Every interview has been unique, and I've learned something from every person I've spoken to, and every person's come to live streaming from a different business and a different background and a different model. So I learned from all my guests, and I can't necessarily pick one over the other. I will say that the most enjoyable experience, because of the circumstances, was when when Blab was on its way out. I got off the sinking ship before it actually sunk, and went to Fire Talk. And when I did my first show on Fire Talk, I had trouble getting my guest on, and it actually was something on his end, but I wasn't sure, right? And so the first thought is, what do you do, right? And I said, well, you know what? Why don't I just stay on the air and hopefully it'll work out? And I ended up staying on for 45 minutes, just doing basically a Q&A with the people in the chat who all hung around. And I brought one of the people in and started interviewing her about her performing arts background and all that. And then eventually the technology worked itself out, and we went on with the show and everything else. And, one of the fun things in radio was sometimes that fly by the seat of your pants and news is breaking. Because it challenges you and it breaks your routine. And obviously, doing one-on-one interviews is a fairly safe, I feel, format or whatever. But that was the first time in live streaming that I felt really out there, kind of, in a ship without an engine or a way to steer it or whatever. And so I'm trying now to do more just impromptu kind of Q&A, chat with people, things that don't need a structure or don't need to be promoted or don't need to be repurposed. And I think too many people make that kind of broadcast the centerpiece of their content, and it can't be, because it doesn't have a life beyond it. But if you can find ways to just give people a little bit of yourself and enjoy yourself and communicate with people like that, it puts that much more into your structured content, because it makes it stand out that you can do different things with content. You can relate to people in different settings, and you can help people either one-on-one, answering their questions and doing interviews, or you can help by just kind of building community by being there and showing up from time to time and letting people know that you're just there to chat. There's not always an agenda, right? So I think having a mix of content now, and that's my goal for 2017, is to diversify what I'm doing. Not everything has to be desktop interview structured show, but I still think for people who want to use this platform to promote their business or build a personal brand or whatever, it is having some structure and some idea what you want to do, and a few topics to hit, and how you promote it, and how you tease what's coming up. So if the person isn't interested in their first topic you're talking about, a lot of people think it's just, you just go on with one idea. Well, actually, you break it down into a few parts. So I may not be interested in hearing about your childhood, but I may be very interested in hearing about what you did when you were in your teens or your 20s, or I may be very interested in what you're planning to do next year. So you have to remind people that that's coming up, right? So you might not be interested in this segment, but don't go anywhere, because in a minute Darrell Stern's going to join us, and we're going to talk about SEO, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of people, and that's where you can bring in some of the art of broadcasting that adds to what you know about social media and online engagement and things like that, to keep people involved and to make your broadcasts more of an event that people will want to tune in and don't miss, and have certain repeatable elements, like you have a theme that you open, you have theme music you open with, things like that. Just signals you, okay, here we're back at our favorite place again. We're listening to Darrell and his interview.
Hey, so Ross, tell everybody how to get in touch with you and how to join your show and watch your amazing live broadcasts.
Sure. Thanks, Darrell. You can find me at livestreamuniverse.com, and the shows always go on Facebook first, so definitely like our Facebook page, facebook.com/livestreamuniverse, or just go to rossbrand.live. That's sometimes easier to remember. My name, rossbrand.live. That'll take you to the Facebook page. You can check out our videos. You can see our live shows, all that good stuff.
Awesome, Ross. Thank you so much. And I look forward. We're going to be working on a lot of exciting things, coming up in the future. I can't wait to be on your show in a couple of months. And you're the best. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me, Darrell. This was a joy talking with you.